MyMac Podcast 908, In the Lap of Luxury.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast. You know, I'm not by myself today, fortunately, because nobody trusts me by myself. But Gaz isn't here because he's off doing luxury things on luxury planes, drinking luxury drinks, eating luxury foods, dancing to luxury songs, and presumably using luxury toilets afterwards while on a luxury ya-cht. Don't blame us for saying ya-cht. That's how it's spelled. Meanwhile, on planet Earth with us dirt beans not doing luxury stuff, we're doing a podcast while not much is going on in the Apple world other than order backlogs, OS issues, and vibrating phones, which may excite some people, but not us. And as I said, I am not by myself. I am joined, itchy eyes. I am joined this week by Mr. Carl Madden, who should get like an ongoing credit. It just seems like every single time that either Gaz or I aren't here, we're dragging you into this mess. How are you?
Yeah, I think that means I should be certified rather than given anything. So,
well,
you know.
I think your certification in certain things is warranted.
Well, I'm doing some luxury myself here, Guy, because I'm drinking from my luxury Mac and Forth cup.
Nice. And it's on both sides. Show the
It is on both sides.
Yeah, show them. It's on both sides. We're not kidding around here. See?
Available from macandforth.com from our store.
That's right. Get his merch. Get his
There
merch. We'll push your merch.
It's only £8, I think.
Yeah. And if I didn't already have like 14,000 coffee cups, you know, you go to
No, you're not doing that, right? Because how many mics have you got?
Oh, well, I actually have more coffee cups than I do microphones, but the coffee cups mostly were free. Well, the coffee cups were free.
Stolen.
I like to think of them as being liberated.
Mm-hmm. That works as well.
Yeah, not stolen. Okay. So what have you been up to?
I ordered an Apple Watch. Listeners of my show will know this little tale, but I ordered an Apple Watch and then Amazon proceeded to lose my Apple Watch in transit.
Oh, nice.
So then I scrapped my order. I got my refund, thank God. Then I ordered some AirPods Pro 2, and they turned up, luckily. But then out of the rest of my Amazon order, 2 other items went missing. So somewhere along the line, just recently, there's a bit of a tea leaf going on. Like helping themselves to stuff, I think. So that's annoying.
It is annoying.
You know what tea leaf means, don't you, by the way?
I do not. I'm an American. If you told me coffee grinds, yeah, I'd get that.
Tea leaf is slang for thief.
I was not aware of that. I will have to put that into
I've just
my...
expanded your knowledge of the Great British Isles.
Yeah, and I can use those words and just confuse the hell out of everybody I know.
This is what those chats I used to do with Missy were all about, so I could give her an arsenal of words that she can confuse all her American friends with.
I miss her. How is she doing?
Pretty well, as far as I know. She's still very active on Facebook and Twitter, I believe, and Instagram, actually. That's probably the best place if you want to follow.
So we miss Missy.
Miss Missy.
Miss Missy. Miss that Miss Missy. Okay, I have had a very interesting week. Last Sunday, I went to an NFL game that turned out to be completely insane. Did not expect... What was that? I missed that. What did you just hold up there?
I got football. Look, an NFL football.
Oh, nice. And it's Wilson.
Yeah.
Watch. What was that movie with Tom Hanks? Castaway. Watch Castaway. You know what that was all about. It was the Dolphins and the Ravens. Now, I live up here near Washington, D.C., so there are many, 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 many Baltimore Ravens fans and not that many Miami Dolphins fans. And I made things even weirder by wearing a Dolphins hat and a Ravens jersey. So as I'm walking around in Baltimore, people just looked at me, and some people were like, you're either very confused or very conflicted. And it was like, I can be both. I'm multi-talented. I can do these things. And the Dolphins, with a 21-point deficit, came back in the fourth quarter and won the game. Could not believe it, and neither could the other 70,000 people in the stands that were there for the game. It was crazy.
Did much of the crowd do that thing where they just walk out thinking, oh, it's all gone, it's all lost, no point hanging around?
Yeah, some of them did, and the ones that stayed saw an insane ending.
Yeah,
to an NFL. It didn't end the way they wanted it to, but it was certainly an exciting game. And then Tuesday night, I got together with my entire extended family, local family. So my two sons, their girlfriends, and a son that I have from another mother and father. That's a whole thing. And we went to see Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band down in Richmond, Virginia. And, oh my God, they kicked ass. They had, now, you may not know who some of these people are, but I'm sure you may know, you should know quite a few of them. Edgar Winter, do you know who Edgar Winter is?
No.
You ever heard that song, Frankenstein? Anyway.
I like you do that like it will assist me.
It should. It really should. It was like a 70s classic. Steve Lukather from Toto, which I've never been a Toto fan. Colin Hay from Men at Work. Hamish Stewart from the Average White Band. Have you ever heard of that band?
I've heard of them. I couldn't tell you any of their hits. Mind you, I only know 1 Men at Work hit.
Really?
Well, Down Under, wasn't it?
Yeah. I live in the land down under. So he doesn't sing it like that.
Vegemite Sandwich. I don't know how they got that.
Well, they sang that song because they were singing songs from like all these different people. And Greg Bissonette, who's played with everybody. And some of the highlights.
Sounds a bit wrong.
Yeah, well, he has. I mean, and he was the youngest guy at 63 years old that was up there on stage. Dear. Everybody, when the youngest guy is 63, it's like, okay, well, it's either play drums or collect Social Security. That's when you know that these guys are old. But there was so much energy. And Ringo, who's now 82 years old, was dancing and hopping around. I was envious. Anyone who is that old and is able to perform like this in a long concert tour has my respect. So, but some of the highlights from the concert, and if you look these songs up in iTunes, they're great songs, especially considering, that they're like classics. Cut the Cake and Pick Up the Pieces from the Average White Band. Frankenstein and Free Ride from the Edgar Winter Group. They also teased, because Steve Bissonette, who's a drummer also, was doing this drum solo through Edgar Winter's song Frankenstein, and he kind of teased the drum openings for like Rock and Roll from Led Zeppelin, Hot for Teacher from Van Halen, the Rolling Stones, and they never actually played any of those songs though, but you could tell from the drum beat what song it was going into, and every single time Ringo would stand and says, no, we're not doing that. It's like, and it was a gag. It was definitely a gag, because I'm sure they did it every single show. But it was really, really fun. And I kind of wish that they had.
I want to see Ringo Starr singing Hot for Teacher, though. I guess
that would be very interesting. And so wrong. So very wrong.
So many levels.
And now I'm not a Toto fan. Africa, they did Rosanna and another Toto song, but I've never been a fan. Dog. No. Yeah, right. Toto. They were playing Rosanna, and when they first, I knew what song it was from the very opening notes. It was one of those things like, oh, okay, they're playing that song now. And I was kind of mentally turning it off. But then they get to the piano solo, and Edgar Winter's piano solo in Toto's Rosanna, damn him, made me like that song. How dare he make me like a Toto song? I was not happy, though it was really, really good. And so if Ringo Starr and the All-Star, and I know this is starting to sound like a commercial for the Ringo Starr's All-Star Band Tour, but if he comes to your area and there are tickets available, I highly, if you like 70s and 80s classic songs, you will love this concert. It was a little over 2 hours long, which meant that just after 10 o'clock, they could all, go back to the hotel room and go to sleep because they are old men now, and who knows how much longer these guys will be able to do this. But it was such a great show. I really, really loved it.
I'm just trying to imagine the groupies. Probably best.
Yeah, actually, he made a comment about that. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was very funny. Something about, how great they looked in the 60s and 70s and not so much now. But it's the same ones that are showing up now.
Well, to bring it back to Apple, you have created a playlist and you can share that playlist for Apple Music.
I can put, I'll see if I can remember to put the link into the show notes. But it was like, how many songs? 22, 23 songs? Something like
23
that?
songs.
Yeah. And it was a great show. And so check them out if they come to your particular neck of the woods and you can get some ticks.
And no Thomas the Tank Engine anywhere. That's a shame.
No, they didn't do that. Yeah. So I'm on my fabulous Lewitt 440 Pure microphone. I'm just going to get that right out of the way. And
sounds lovely.
I fixed an audio problem I had by turning it off and turning it back on again.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the new world.
Yeah. Who would have thought that would have been a troubleshooting technique? I'm stunned. I'm totally stunned. Now, we do have a couple of Gaz's snippets, but not too many. Because I don't have Gaz's audio files.
Oh, he holds on to them. He doesn't release them.
Actually, speaking of Gaz, he is off on this like amazing trip. It really is. And when he described it to me, I just sat there dumbfounded. And I was like, why don't I have friends that can invite me on, private planes and private yachts and, and go to Spain and all the rest. And I am completely and totally envious. And I have teased him a lot about, living the high life and all the rest of that. But if anyone deserves to have a really, really good time after the last year or so, it's Gaz. He has had such a great time on this trip, and I'm not at all envious or jealous. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for him, Carl.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
What a wonderful chap.
Yeah. Hope you're having a great time.
Great time. Great
Gaz.
time.
Gritted teeth.
I think it's fabulous that he's gone away and do. Sorry if you can hear children outside. That's my bloody neighbours that have just decided to go out and make a noise in the garden.
Well, no, I don't hear it, but I've only got these on. Maybe it'll come up in post. Yay. But getting on to some Gaz's snippets, Carl, speaking of luxury items, Apple's iPhone 14 has some camera issues with FaceTime and iMessage, not activating even on phones updated to the latest version of iOS. Have you heard about this?
I thought it's been fixed now because they rolled out a fix when we were recording on Thursday.
They rolled out 16.01.
No, 02 as well now.
Well, yeah. Well, 02, I think, is the one that they're saying, well, 01 didn't fix it all, but 02, that's the magic bullet that's going to fix it. Yeah. So, but also, and I don't know if 02 fixed this, iPhone 14 grinding issue with third-party apps.
Well, wasn't that the one where the sensor was bobbing all over the place if you use something like Snapchat? Yeah, I believe it says in the release notes that was fixed. Obviously, I can't test that because I haven't got an iPhone 14 Pro.
Neither do I.
But apparently that is also fixed in 16.0.2.
Okay, well, we'll see what the pundits say over the next week or so. Hong Kong has granted Apple a patent, a design patent for the Mac Studio. Who knew you could design or get a design patent for essentially a box?
It's a box.
And it's not to say that it's not a nice looking box.
Nice box.
It is. Box. And I wish I had one with an M1 Ultra and 128 gigs of RAM and 8 terabytes of storage for 16 gazillion English rupees or Italian lira or whatever, whatever the hell the currency of choice is from where you live. But my M1 Mac Mini, it's kicking ass. These Macs running the M processors, and here's the thing. When Apple first came out, when they swapped from PowerPC to Intel back in 2006, 2007, their first couple machines were kind of dogs. They were the Core 2 or the Core Solos, I think they were, Intel Core Solos. They were terrible. They really, really didn't run well. And it took them a couple of machines before they became, the powerhouses for that time. But the M series processors right out of the very gate have just been unbelievable. I mean, and you do the same. You use yours for video editing and audio editing and all the rest. It doesn't matter what I throw at this thing. And this is a Mac Mini. It's not like it's a Mac Studio, or a MacBook Pro or anything like that. It takes everything that I toss at it and says, oh, okay. Do you want that in mono, stereo, 96 kilohertz? How do you want that? Oh, okay, you want both of them. Here you go. And it just cranks it right out.
Exactly. Now, the only issue I run into, well, I would run into if I decided to go down that way, is the first Macs don't support more than one screen, which obviously the Mini does. So that's the only thing that's annoying. And the modern day ones obviously do now, since they came out with the better processors in. I think that latest monstrosity, the Ultra or whatever, can do 6 screens. It's ridiculous. But so for me, that's my only limitation, the fact that I can't have another monitor off to the side, which would be nice. But you can AirPlay, and that kind of works.
Well, you can, because you're on what, an Air?
Yep, the first MacBook Air, the most basic one, because I thought I'm going to go with the most basic one just in case it goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Did it?
No,
it didn't. It went great.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what first time, makes models are
that's kind of the point. Sometimes they're just not great machines. This time they were. Who knew? I guess my only complaint about the Mac Mini has been the number of FireWire ports. FireWire. Oh my God. Did I just say that? The number of Thunderbolt ports that it has, which is not very many. So with the design of the Mac Mini, not so much with the Studio, they kind of fixed it with the Studio, but with the Mac Mini, you're kind of forced to get something with a hub, something that has a few more ports on it. And fortunately, Thunderbolt 3/4 has so much bandwidth that there's really not much that you could put on a hub that's going to slow it down that much. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the Mac Mini. And I know probably at some point this year, early next year, they'll come out with maybe an M2. But kind of like with the iPhone 14, there better be something that's like really spectacular for me to spend, $1,000+ on a new computer when this one is just running so great.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, if you just want to update for the sake of updating, But I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be a while until the likes of us, anyway. I think need to update realistically. Obviously, we can choose to do it anytime we want. You know, when we go, I want to get it. Because you can always pass on the old one at a fairly reasonable rate anyway and get a good comeback on cost. But the more the updates they're bringing out, the iterations they're bringing out now, especially like you can just see from the phone itself, from the 14 to what the 13 was, and from the watches as well, they seem to be using them to go after new customers to try and tempt those Windows users away from Intel, it seems to me. Because they don't seem at the moment to be that bothered. They know they've got a winner with these M chips, and everyone's raving about how powerful they are. And Intel are stepping up their game definitely. In fact, actually, I watched a Linus Tech Tips video today about he went into an Intel factory in Israel, and my God, I never knew there was so much involved in producing chips. It's unbelievable.
I installed some security systems in a fab over here in Virginia, and the process is like insane what they have to go through, and this was 20 years ago. So the fact that those were probably like 20 nanometer kind of processors, and now they've got them down. Well, I don't know about the plant in Israel, but some of the stuff that Apple is doing with their partners are down to 3 nanometers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For a single processor. Oh my God. You know, I mean, you turn that thing sideways, you can't see it. 3 nanometers. That's crazy.
Jeez. God, they're really noisy next door. Sorry about that.
No, I can't, honestly, I can't hear it, and I'm not seeing it. You know, we're going into a little bit of not tech speak, but geek speak. I am not seeing anything coming across through the audio.
That's good.
At least not yet. I mean, who knows what'll happen when I get into post. But getting back into some of Gaz's snippets, actually, there's 2 more. Pundits say, and this is analysts that are like really, really going out on a limb here. Readying release of new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros.
How did they do that? How did they project that might happen? That is astounding insight.
It's like they're looking into the future, and they have some kind of drug that they take that helps them. Melange. Yeah, they're prescient or something. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know how they do it.
The brain power needed to know, to see, to look forward and see that something that Apple makes now, they might make another version of in the future. That just think about that. We need these people running the country because they obviously know everything is going to come. It's omnipotent almost.
Okay, next story. Little tongue in cheek there. Apple's best feature in iOS is draining your batteries, Carl. No, not always on, but the haptic keyboard, which vibrates your phone as each character is put in. Even Apple has admitted that it could be an issue. So they're basically saying, well, we've got this great feature, but don't be far from a charger if you use it a lot.
Who knew that if you use a process that takes up some battery, your battery would run down quicker? Whoever would have thought that?
You know who knew that? The same pundits that knew that Apple was readying 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros.
But this is why it's not turned on by default. So it gives you the option. I mean, I got it turned on. I like the effect personally. It feels really nice as you're typing
I've never tried it. I'll have to try it. Well, hold on. I got my phone right here. So
here we go. Oh, live demonstration.
This is live demonstration. So I'm going to settings. So where am I going next?
Keyboard, I think it is.
No. Where the hell's my keyboard? No, I don't want. Oh, there it is. Sounds and haptics.
Oh yeah. Turn it on.
It's got headphone safety. Reduce loud. Oh my God. Okay, I do have it on. System haptics. I've never noticed it.
Well, type
Okay.
something, and you'll find it vibrates.
All right, I'm going to go to messages. Going to Carl.
This is stunning.
I know this.
Podcasting,
Not only is it great audio, it's great video too. We both sit there with
as
our
he
heads
looks
down, looking at
off the
something.
screen.
Everybody, look at us now, please.
Do you feel it? You should be.
Pass.
As soon as
No,
you
I'm
type
not
anything.
feeling it. Please
Oh,
pass the
dude.
salt. So I don't have it on for this. All right, so let's go back to settings.
God almighty.
Oh, here we go. Keyboard feedback.
Ah, you found
Okay,
it.
now it's on.
There we go.
There
He can
we
be
go.
trained.
No, I'm untrainable.
You're lost cause.
Okay,
Feel it?
yeah.
There we go.
Please pass the pepperoni. Okay, I like pepperoni better than pepper. Okay. All right. Well,
Yes.
so
Guy Sell
glad we
sent you a
did
message.
that.
Please pass the pepperoni.
Please pass the pepperoni. So glad we did that, Carl.
So,
Okay.
So all the listeners
Yeah.
and viewers.
Well, that's the end of Gaz's snippets and links and pretty much everything at that point. I guess we could even call that Gaz's tips. Oh, darn it. I wasn't ready. Here we go.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Boy, we are just rolling right along here, Carl. This may be the last show of the MyMac.com podcast at this rate. So many
only if we
things.
say certain words.
Yeah. Well, I say that every single week. Is this going to be the last show? Is this going to be the last show? I could get hit by a bus. And everybody out there that's listening to the show says, yes, get hit by that bus. Find that
Jump
bus. Be that bus. Live
Be
that
the
bus. Anyway, and obviously I didn't play,
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
and I'm not going to play it all now. So that's how that works. All right. So let's talk about what you've purchased. You've bought some new AirPod Pros. Now, did you have the previous version of the AirPod Pros, which were called AirPod
The
Pros?
AirPods Pros.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did indeed.
Okay. What made you decide to get the new version?
Well, I looked on Amazon and they were in stock. That was it, really. I didn't need any more. No, so, and there's another reason why I shouldn't have got them probably, because you remember Apple had that recall issue where you could take your AirPods Pro in and they'd run an audio test on them, and if they found this fault, they'd give you a brand new pair of pods, not the case, just the pods apparently.
Yeah.
So I did that via Steve on our show, and mine showed the fault, so I got replacement. So I got brand new AirPods Pro with the batteries and everything in them just a few months ago, and now here I am replacing them. But the trouble is, you hear when it comes to audio,
Yeah.
you hear all the hype on the Apple sales pitch, as we'll call them, instead of a presentation. And you think, well, how can it be? Firstly, there's no real way they can show you or let you listen to how things sound. So the only way you can find out for
if
sure
you're
is
listening to them on crappy headphones, it's like, well,
Yeah.
that still sounds like crappy headphones.
I do love all the YouTube channels though that try to say, well, here's what these sound like, and here's what these sound like, and you go, yeah, but I'm still listening it through
On
the
crap.
thing that I'm listening on. It doesn't make any sense.
I listen
can
to
tell
believe
it
it
sounds
or not, I
different.
listen to a lot of different microphone reviews. I know. Whoops. Whoa, hold on. Stop that, you. Shocker that I watch a lot of YouTube videos on microphones. And it's kind of the same thing where it's like, okay, we're going to compare this $150 condenser mic with a $3,000 condenser mic. And you won't be able to tell the difference. It's like, yeah, because I'm hearing them through the same crappy speakers or headphones or whatever. that I was hearing all my other stuff. So yeah, there's really no way to tell, but they keep doing it.
So bear that in mind when it comes to my review here, okay? Now, they did claim that these were meant to be, like the noise cancelling was meant to be twice an improvement over the previous version. Noise cancelling, yeah. And it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to walk down to my off license here, where I get my beer, and I could still hear cars going by, on the old ones. And on the new ones, I can still hear the cars going by, but just about. And also when I do the transparency one, it does sound less tinny, if that's the way of describing it. It now sounds like the world is more open as you've got transparency on. The sound itself, again, based on what I listen to, mainly a load of rock music and country music, it does seem to have a bit more bass to it and a bit more, a wider gamut of audio. And they do fit me better. Now, they're the same shape, but they also say you can't change the AirPods around. So you can't pull off from AirPods Pro 1 and put them on AirPods Pro 2, apparently. I haven't tried that yet, so I'm not 100% sure, but I remember reading that somewhere. But, I put these in. I used the big bud option, the large bud option, stuck them in, run the ear test tip challenge, so to speak, and they sealed straight away. I've never had that before in the past. Apparently they last a lot longer. I haven't had any length of time to try that yet, but the battery is meant to last significantly longer than the previous ones. I think it's 6 hours or so. So that should allow me to get through my job, my entire day of driving, with transparency on, because otherwise it'd be unsafe. But yeah, so I'm going to take these to work tomorrow and try them out for the entire day and do calls and whatnot for them and talk to the S lady to get various messages sent and whatnot like that. But at the moment, I mean, yes, they are damn pricey. And if you've got AirPods Pro 1, I probably wouldn't advise upgrading unless you really, really want to. But chances are you can sell those because, if the battery's still good, and put it a significant chunk towards getting some number 2s. Now, they obviously got some features which they might take advantage of in these moving forward, but we don't know at the moment, do we? Because we don't know what they're planning. But they've got the H2 chip in there, and it might be able to do... I mean, the case is very handy because now you can find it. It'll make a noise, and it's quite a loud noise as well when it beeps. If you lose it, you can now use Find My, and it will eventually track it down if you hide it in your house somewhere, if you walk by it. So that all works, and they pair. On my old ones, I used to flip open the lid, and everybody else saw it on YouTube. It was like bang, instantly it was there. It never did that for me. It would take about 5 seconds before it appeared. Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. Well, these ones almost instantly, within a second. As soon as I open the case, bing, it pops up on the screen, that little animation with the batteries and all that. And I stick them in my ears, and they start working straight away, and off I go. And I'm very happy with them.
Early on with my AirPod Pro 1s, even opening the case wouldn't make them pair. I had to stick them in my ear before they would actually pair. I had all kinds of problems with the AirPod, not the AirPods, but the AirPod Pros when I first got them. And I had actually gone out and started buying the cheap $25, $30 buds, just because they did pair. I didn't even have to take some of these out of the case. They'd be like, oh, there's a Bluetooth case there that has charged up ear pods, ear pods, whatever the hell they called them. And so I'm going to connect them. Is that okay? And it's like, yeah. And, and then I put them in my ear and they just worked, but they didn't sound as good as the AirPods. But speaking of that, now you're currently wearing AirPod Pros. And for people who get confused about the naming convention, because apparently the same guys that work for Rode work for Apple.
Well, Max. They're the Maxes, aren't they? So
yeah. Or AirPod Max. Yes. When you listen to music on closed headphones, it sounds better. Plus, of course, the speakers that are built into them are larger, And so you have a better frequency response. I haven't run into anyone ever who has said that earbuds sound as good or better than over-the-ear headphones. How, and including, you know, these AirPod Pros that I'm currently using, and they sound fine, especially for spoken word. But when it comes to music, they've always sounded a little tinny, and, you know, doesn't quite have the response that I would get with over-the-ear headphones. Are the new ones any better in that regard? Or do they sound pretty much the same?
Again, it's subjective, but I like the sound of these number twos, and they do sound kind of close.
Oh, so many jokes, but okay.
Yeah, I know. Kind of close to what I've got here. But, however, I got to stipulate, and like Alan is very assertive about this fact.
Of course.
If you listen with spatial audio on, everything sounds hollow. But as soon as you go back to stereo, you know how we've all been used to, because we're old, it sounds much warmer, much closer, and much more intimate. So again, I mean, there's a few. I mean, I'll leave spatial audio on, but I still couldn't tell you any massive advantage of it. Because I think, you know, I admit it, he's right. If you just listen to normal stereo, how it's always been, they feel much warmer and much more closer and much more intimate on a listen. And again, audio, very personal choice. Your mileage may vary. But so I'm thinking I'm going to start turning spatial audio off, because I still don't see really, you know, massive leaps. Because they say, like, you know, they show the... however, one thing I do say about spatial audio is I've got a proper 5.1 home cinema system. And when I play music through my Apple TV, through my sound system, oh my God, it's like you're surrounded by the music. It's all over the place. It's
what, through the AirPods or just through your regular system?
The 5.1 speakers, right?
Well, isn't spatial audio supposed to kind of simulate that in the AirPods?
Yeah, but it doesn't. I mean, I don't care what they say. It still doesn't. They'll say like, oh yeah, you should hear the drums back here and the trumpets over here or something like that. But not really. I still don't see it. I mean, okay, granted, I've now at the age of 52 or 53, one or the other, right? And I pumped Iron Maiden into my ears relentlessly when I was in my teenage years. So my eardrums are wrecked, basically.
Eddie.
So... I said, Eddie. Right, so you got to bear that in mind. But now I'm slightly older and I listen to more like gentler stuff, like the country music stuff.
Refined. Metallica.
Yeah, but it's still...
Rage Against the Machine.
No, not them. They were pro Machine in the end. What a bunch of con losers they turned out to be. Anyway, so so I am very pleased with the audio that I'm getting from these. Is it significantly better over the old ones? To me, it's a significant jump, but that your mileage may vary. All I'm saying is, to me personally, I'm not upset I spent the extra money to get these. And I hope, and I will be using these every day next week before I do my next show. So if you listen to the next Mac and Forth, I'll give a much more in-depth review, I hope, then, when I've had some real world testing rather than just walking to the office and back again and walking around the house and whatnot. Yeah.
Now you had some, I mean, you're not using them right now, obviously. For people who are watching the video, they're like,
no, I'm going for the Princess
Leia.
Those AirPod
Pros sure have gotten a lot bigger.
So, I like the buttons on my head.
So, okay, Princess Leia, did you have... Yeah. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Although I don't seem to recognize you from the show that we were on together. That's weird. I seem to have a mental block. How did that happen? I don't know. Who knows?
It was the 70s.
Continuity, who cares? What's it?
It was the 70s, man. That's what it was. Were there issues with connecting it up through Bluetooth, your new ones?
Literally not until we started this show. But I think that's because every podcaster has got a very strange setup when it comes to audio.
What?
Most times. So
What?
I've never had that issue before, but as soon as we're setting up with the show and we've got mics plugged in and headphones plugged in and other things plugged in, it's all it connects, but then I couldn't get any audio out of them. But I think that's my problem, and I bet. And I couldn't mess around with it because Guy was ready to go. And when Guy's ready to go, you have to go before he can screw something
Because
up.
I'll change something else. My God, I'll change something else, and then we'll all be sorry.
But everything's been switching fine, like from the phone to the iPad to the TV to the Mac and back again. You know, I've not had any issues with any of that stuff. So,
okay.
So you know, fingers crossed. But and I did buy a crappy case from, you know, one of these cheap, nasty, rubbery cases for about a tenner. So they saw me coming on that one, I tell you.
So you're not happy with the cheap plastic Amazon case that you bought?
No, because
why did you choose white?
Because they are white.
Well, no, I mean, why did you choose the
because
the
I went
cover?
to see how dirty it actually got without me putting it into a case. I wanted to see how dirty I get them without actually getting the case dirty.
So it's an experiment.
Oh, and the other thing I love is the fact that they're now MagSafe. So they clamp. Not in this case because it's got a big bump on the back of it. Look at that bloody thing. But if I take them out of the case, just dump them on the MagSafe, then they lock in place. And that means you can charge them with that silly little MagSafe battery, which I've also got. You know, the little white one that goes on the back of the phone. So, yeah.
Well, if you have the case with you, because, I mean, you should be able to charge them up at least, 3 times through the case, maybe more?
Oh, yeah. There's a significant amount of charge,
because I've got,
you can do.
These are my AirPod 1 cases. And I typically don't have it plugged in. I just use them week after week. And I pretty much only use them when I'm podcasting. So the charge that I have on this case when I plug them back in after the show charges them right back up. And I mean, it can be weeks before I'll plug them back in again for a charge.
So one of the other things I'm missing as well is when the AirPods first came out, and we got over the whole, oh no, I'll lose them, because I'm silly like that. Anyway, once we got over that stage, right, and you started to see them out in the wild, you could give the other AirPod owners a nod, like, you're in the club. No, you can't do that because there's so many knockoff versions out there. You don't know who you're nodding to.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I had some from this company called Earfunds that were actually pretty good. But let's get off this and move on because we'll spend all day talking about this stuff.
What, audio? No, not you.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Why would you want to talk about audio?
Well, we're not going to. No. We're gonna move on because we gotta get this show going. Actually, we're kind of close to the end of the show now. We've stopped doing the break in the middle, so it's not like we're gonna stand by, and we'll be right back. We have already stood by to stand by, and we're back.
But you've just now called it out.
I did. So for people who didn't realize that we stopped doing it, now you know. All right.
So where are my bumpers going to go then?
Your bumpers can. Well, I don't know. I mean, we still want them. We do still want them, and we do still play them. See, you just threw me completely off. What happened?
Yes.
Success. Yeah, and you can ask Gaz how hard that is.
What's that?
At 62, not that hard.
Oh, screw.
All right. We don't have any links unless Carl, do you have a link that you'd like to talk about?
I did see an app, but let me quickly see if I can find it because
oh, you know what? I do have a pick. Something I just found recently because I keep having I use DaVinci for editing video. Mm-hmm. And it's a great program. However, when I do Guy's Daily Drive, sometimes when I bring that over from Facebook, when I export that from Facebook, I have all kinds of audio and video issues.
Well, yeah, and you will, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, and it's because of the nature of how it's recorded. And it's almost unfixable in DaVinci. You have to separate the audio, and then you've got to do this, and you got to do that. But the weird thing is when I play it in QuickTime, it's completely synced. It's only when I bring it into DaVinci that there's a problem. So I started looking at alternatives. I tried iMovie for a while, but honestly, iMovie is still, I can't get used to the interface with iMovie. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But I found this program called CapCut. It's in the Mac App Store, and it's free with in-app purchases. But I can't find what those in-app purchases are, so I'm not sure where that works in. But it has transcription built in. It's got all kinds of effects and transitions. You can do keyframes, and it's a great program for doing multi-track video. So if you do multi-track video and you're trying to get used to the interface with DaVinci, because I mean the stuff that I do with DaVinci, I don't need color correcting, and I don't need half of the fancy crazy stuff that DaVinci will let you do that you'll have to spend hours watching videos on YouTube to figure out how to use. CapCut is just like, oh, okay, you want to use keyframes? Just put one there and then change the parameters, and then put one there and change the other parameters, and it'll just work. And with most of my Facebook videos that aren't completely crazy as far as video and audio sync, it picks it up and it works just fine, where DaVinci did not. So for Guy's Daily Drive, I've been using CapCut, and you'll find it over on the Mac App Store. And I didn't really mean to turn this into a review, but I guess I did. So enjoy.
Well, that's the point of a pick, isn't it? So,
kind of. Now you use, what's the one that you use?
For what?
For video editing? You do most of yours on your iPad, right?
Final Cut. Well, no, I use, that's for podcast editing.
Yeah.
I use Ferrite.
Ferrite. I've tried to use that, but because you have to know what all the tools are when you go into it, because there's nothing really kind of underneath it to tell you what those tools do. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
If sometime if you want a demonstration, I'll show you, because he has got YouTube videos out there, and I just watched them all, and I know now. But you don't have to use everything. It's really good. But do you want to know what my pick was before we went off on your pick? By the way,
sure.
So mine is, okay, my favorite new feature of iOS 16 is the lock screen and how much you can update it and all the new widgets that you can put on it. So there's an app out there called Lock Screen, and that's all it's called. And because it's called just Lock Screen, it is a nightmare to find. So I'm going to send Guy a link.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll be able to put it in the show doc as well, because you will never find it otherwise. Because you put Lock Screen in, and like 5,000 other things come up before this thing does. Yeah. Anyway, and what it allows you to do is do different kind of notifications. What do I call them? Widgets on the notification screen. So, for example, like just making sure I've got nothing on here incriminating before I hit the screen. Right. So, as you can see, the widgets. Well, it's not really coming up but they look a lot nicer than the stock widgets that you get from Apple. Yeah. And there's a massive selection of all various things that you can relate to your health and fitness, or your weather, or various other things, and you can select them all and have them included in your widget bar. You should bring your widget thing back, Guy. There's loads of them out there. Widget. There's loads of them out there for the notification screen.
If I did that, Carl, it would doom widgets on the phone, because that's what it did on the Mac.
I'm telling you, and it's new enough that if you get in early, you can make an impact.
So, but you couldn't call it dashboard widgets or the dashboard minute. It would have to be the widget minute or something like that. I just gave away an idea, didn't I?
The winning widget.
The winning widget minute. Say that 10 times fast.
Anyway, yeah. So check it out if you like the new widgets on the notification on the lock screen. I love it.
Okay. Those are our picks. If you would like to help out the people that are currently suffering in the Ukraine, timeout.com has a list of helpful Ukrainian donation sites, and there'll be a link in the show notes for that. Or you can just go to the Ukrainian Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders and make a donation there, and we stand with the people of Ukraine. If you would like to make a donation to me, to help me pay for all of the crazy, crazy stuff that I do, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a
I missed the
pal.
first one.
Pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, Carl, if people wanted to contact you and say, you keep making the same mistake over and over again by accepting invitations from Guy or Gaz to be on the MyMac podcast, how would they do so?
Well, they can go and check out macandforth.com and see our general website, or, of course, seek out your favourite podcatcher of choice and come and listen to the Mac and Forth show with me and regulars Alan, Steve, and Dean, and now Barry and Mark, and a number of other people.
It's nice to see Mark back, by the way.
So,
he was gone for a while.
and we even had David Dean on. If anyone remembers David Dean from I Confess I'm a Geek, he was our latest guest on our show as well. And
nice
it's good to hear him, because he's now given up. He put his podcasting mic away, at least for now. Whoever knows? Podcasters are weird, because we sometimes run into ruts and we get fed up with it all and we put the mics away.
Yeah.
And then a long while goes by and something sometimes entices us back. I've quit myself twice, I think. So,
well, here's the thing for me. As long as I need therapy, I will continue to do this podcast. So 50, 60 years more, I think, and I will be nice and leveled out.
Might know what you're doing by then.
Sorry?
Might know what you're doing by then as well.
Maybe. I won't be changing my audio setup each and every week. It's, there's just a magic button you push. No, that won't work for me. That just won't work for me. But if you want to get a hold of me,
each other's brains by then as well. By the way,
just right into the side, quarter-inch input. Whoop. You can send me an email by opening up the email client of your choice and typing in Guy at mymac.com or a podcast at vertshark.com. Vertshark.com is the website that hasn't been updated in about 2 months. But that's where I usually, or used to, put all of my audios and videos. I haven't done it lately. It kind of broke with the latest version of WordPress. Oh, okay. You know what? Quick rant.
Here we go. Oh, here we go. Buckle yourself in, listener and viewer.
WordPress.
Do it to me. Do it to me.
I used to be able to put up a video in YouTube or a podcast in Podbean, and it would automatically create posts in WordPress for vertshark.com. And then I would go in, do some minor edits, throw in some artwork, and then it'd be all done. I didn't have to do links. I didn't have to do copy and paste. Didn't have to do any of that. Doesn't work now. WordPress. And I can't seem to make it work. There is a way to do it, but it's not working for me. So
have you tried turning it off and on again?
I don't know if that would work. But it's very, very frustrating. And I basically, what I need to do is talk to somebody much more knowledgeable about WordPress than me, which would not be hard to find, I would think. And they can tell me what it is I'm doing wrong. Okay. Just getting off of that. You can reach me also on the Twitters and say, Guy, you idiot, why are you still using this thing in WordPress that is completely screwing up your life? By going and following me as Macparrot or VertShark over there on the Twitters. You can reach Gaz at mymac.com, Gaz. You can reach him over on the Twitters also. His Twitter handle is Gazmaz, Gaz.
Cars.
MAZ.
Cars.
Yeah. Or both of us, we have a combined Twitter account, which is Guy and Gaz, GUYANDGA, wait for it, Z.
Cars.
And we have feedback. You can send something to our fearless leader, Tim Robertson. Feedback at mymac.com. Question his sanity for allowing Gaz and me to be doing this program for over 12 years. And that's feedback@mymac.com. And, Carl, we have a Skype telephone number. Well, the wonders of technology never cease. That Skype telephone number is 1 or +1 outside of the United States, 703-436-9501. That number again is 1 or +1 outside the United States, 703-436-9501. Or if dialing a 1 or a +1 in front of a Skype number is just too hard, and for people with OCD, it just might be, you can go right to the Skype application and just dial 703-436-9501. Now, I would like to say, number one,
can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Why still use Skype when you could just create an account on iMessage and have people send straight to your messaging account?
I could, but then I would get lots of notifications on my phone.
But you wouldn't
At
you just turn off
potentially
notifications.
Pieces or areas of time that I don't want notifications coming in on my phone.
Yeah, but they could do that on Skype.
I know. Well, I have notifications turned off on Skype, so it doesn't. Because the only people that call that number, like if I'm driving in my car and I'm with my wife or whatever, we're going wherever, and I see a Skype call come in, I don't answer it. Because if I did, I wouldn't have whoever that person is that's calling, I wouldn't have their recorded message on Skype so that I could play it here on the show. And that has happened. Greg from North Carolina called one time. And without thinking, I just hit, yep. And it was like Greg from North Carolina. He was like, oh, hi. He wasn't expecting it either. And it's like, okay, well, we're not going to talk. I'll just hang up and you can call back and leave me that message that you wanted to leave me. So I turned off notifications in Skype so that I don't get the buzzes and the beeps on my phone as I'm driving around.
I'm just saying you could do it.
I could. I very, very easily could, but I don't know if I would be able to get this same number. I probably couldn't get this same number.
You don't need a number. They can use an address, a mail address.
But then I can't do the whole 703-436-950. Carl, you're screwing with success.
I'm just trying to assist.
It's not really success. We don't get that many calls. People, please call us. We like calls. And
because then people could send you videos as well. They could record the video and send it to you on Messenger. See?
Sorry.
Exactly.
Mind blown. If you do call us and you're a first-time caller, you'll get something wonderful. I haven't talked about this in a while. You know what they'll get, Carl?
They'll get a wooty.
They will get a wooty, and that is spelled big W, big O, big T, little I, little E, exclamation mark, wooty. And once you have one and you see just how wonderful it is, your life will never be the same, ever. Of course, you're listening to this show, so come see, come
How much
saw.
worse can it get? So.
Exactly. But here we are, Carl, finally at the end. And I would like to tell everyone who downloads and listens to the MyMac.com podcast, thank you. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so very, very much for listening and hopefully someday contributing by dialing that Skype number to the MyMac.com podcast. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And Carl, I think that this week we are good enough. And this week, well, one of us was smart enough. I'm not going to say who. That's kind of the way it works. And that doggone it, Wilf, where's Wilf? Wilf. People like us. Oh, and you know what? I don't have a joke. I was
about to say, there's nothing there for me to read.
Yeah. Well, we're going to kind of stop doing the silly language bit. Now, if you guys like the silly language bit, I do. I am a big fan of the silly language. But I think Gaz was just tired of trying to interpret whatever the language was that I put in for this week. So in deference, not reference, but in deference to Gaz, it's not in there anymore. But if you would like it back, and I get enough people saying, yes, we want that silly language back, I will put it back in the show. And I'll read it if Gaz doesn't want to read it. But that's how that will work. So you were just looking furiously down at your computer. Tell me the joke.
How many telemarketers does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
Only one, but they have to do it while you're eating your dinner.
Okay, I like that. End.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on home and go home.